back at stage one. I've sat there with no MOT in a minute with a broken windscreen. So yeah, I've got to put another windscreen in it.
Okay.
Not good.
Right. Good morning and welcome all. We seem to have most people here. So we shall get started. And Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I've got some apologies here. Phil, for obvious reasons, long-term illness. Mark and David. And right. So I had 10 minutes this morning. Sorry, my brain needs to catch up with where my thought process was. I had 10 minutes this morning. I'd like to welcome our one and only social media guy, Mike.
Hey. Actually, I can't share my screen there now.
Yeah, you can share your
Thank
screen.
you. So we've got it here. So today, it's a bit basic, I know, but can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
I'm going to be talking about Google My Business, which is the prime piece of online real estate. I think most of you do have some sort of Google My Business present. If you know, or maybe some people don't know what it is. So just going to go into the benefits of it, because especially with the way things are going at the moment, it's good to have a good solid on present. And just so you know, with Google My Business, all you need to have a Google My Business present is an address, basically. And if you're worried about your address being public on the net, you can hide it, Google My Business. So basically, the only qualification you need is having some sort of physical address. It doesn't need to be your own. Obviously, one you can have access to. So what are the benefits of Google My Business? The first one is that you appear at the top of Google search results without paying lots of money. You probably noticed if you do a search online, see if I can say search for cake maker, say. Do you see that? The results there, the top results are the Google My Business results, which really stand out. And then you have the organic results, which are basically, your regular websites. I'm not saying that that Google My Business is better than a website, because at the end of the day, Google own Google My Business, and you own your own website, so you have more control with your own website. But it's a good opportunity to get at the top of Google, or near the top of Google, without actually spending a great amount of money and doing a massive amount of work. How long this will be, I don't know, because I hear that it's possible that eventually Google will make this something you actually pay for, which won't be so good. But at the moment, it's a free service. And also, by being on Google My Business, you also appear in Google Maps as well, if you have your address listed, of course. So if someone wants to find your business, want to drive to it, or they can actually just hop on here and get the directions to your business if needed. Some of the other benefits is customers can contact you directly or request quotes. So it has a little facility where someone can message you, just asking any questions about your business, which is a really cool thing. And also, people can call you directly from the listing as well. So if you are say you want to, if someone's on their mobile, they can just tap call on the listing and it goes straight through to you. Plus also, these calls are also registered, not as in listened to, although they might be.
Yeah.
but not officially. But you can see how many calls you're getting as well from Google My Business. You can actually, there's analytics there which you can actually measure, because you how many calls am I getting from Google My Business when you go into the back end of it. So how would you optimize the page to get it showing a bit higher in the search results? So the first thing you need to do is choose the correct business category. If you, I mean, it's obvious, obviously, you know, if you're a car valeter, you'd want to have the correct category of car valeter, not a insurance broker, for example. Also, choosing the some categories can be quite close to each other as well. And for example, there are examples like, I know with like taxi companies, they also do airport transfers. So sometimes you have to choose which one you want to go for, which, if you had a taxi company, you would choose which category would be the best one for you, which business is the most beneficial to you, and choose that one. I mean, you can choose more than one category, but obviously there's one main category you can choose. So if you offer various services, try and think about which service is the best or the most relevant to you and choose that one. The choice of services actually is quite wide. It's getting better as days go by. It used to be quite limited on which categories you can choose, but now they're getting a bit more specific, which really helps. This one here I'm a big fan of with Google My Business is, I suppose the best way to describe it is for Google to show your business, they have to trust that you're a real business. If there is it's the same with, if you ask, you know, trust in real life. You trust a business, you know, if it's got a physical location, you know, it's been seen around, you see it in the yellow pages, you see it online, you know, there is some evidence that exists. It's on Companies House, for example, is VAT registered, that sort of thing. So being on trusted online directories, not just any old directory online, but trusted ones. And the ones I count Facebook here, by the way, because it's not a directory, but to Google, it's a sign of trust that you're on Facebook. Yale.com, although beware, obviously, make sure you don't tick that you want to be sent any promotional material when you sign up for them. Bing.
Still will be.
Yeah. Not always the most, you know, they're quite aggressive. Bing, do you all know what Bing is? Bing, it's a search engine run by Microsoft. I think it's actually changed its name back to Microsoft Search now. But believe it or not, actually, Google, if you're listed on Bing, Google really trusts that, even though they're a competitor. I think it's mainly because you have to go jump through several hoops to actually get listed on these sites. You have to verify where you live. You know, you have to verify email addresses, that type of thing. The more verified it is, the better.
Yeah.
You know, hence why if you register for Google My Business, they send you a postcard to your physical address to prove that you actually live, you know, actually operate there.
Yeah.
A central index is a general name, but it covers like newspapers. Most newspapers who do listings, they have their listings with central index. So the Daily Echo, whatever it is in Font Mail Magna, not sure what it is.
Blackmore Vale, isn't it?
Blackmore Vale, they're probably with Central Index.
Yeah.
In actual fact, so they'll be Blackmore Vale. If they're not with Central Index, they'll probably be a good. If they have an online listings, they would be a good place to be on.
Yeah.
Next thing to do to optimize the page is making sure the NAP is in. And NAP stands for name, address, and phone number are consistent. So it's not. This is actually one of the hardest things I find, because over time businesses' details change. So you register a business with one address or phone number in the listing when you start off, and then you change later on. You change address, change your phone number, and then you find that there's different. You've got different details in different places. So even though it doesn't have to be 100%, if you have quite a few places that in the past you registered your business and it's now a different address or different phone number, then that can cause issues. So it's always worth doing a scan of your business, what addresses come up when you Google your business, and see if you can change or alter the address if it's incorrect. That's really important. Next step is getting reviews to your page, because obviously that increases the trust factor, and I acknowledge the fact that a lot of reviews can be fake, but people still will listen to what other people say, and even I think people still trust reviews to a certain extent. And Google do have a way of screening fake reviews. They know whether a review is they can sometimes tell if it's genuine or not. And also it looks better in the listing as well, because if you see a listing which has reviews, sometimes you go for the best one. If all the listings have reviews, the 5-star reviews are ones which you're more likely to go for, rather than one with 1 star or 2-star. Actually, as an aside, what can happen sometimes I found is issue last year where a guy had a horrible review, and it wasn't actually left on Google, but Google had picked it up. And it was basically someone had left a review which was quite slanderous, and also I think was left for the wrong business. So his presence online was being scuppered by this one review, which wasn't even really for him. So you can take these, but we did remove the review. We managed to remove the review, which was having a negative effect. And now it's got tons of 5-star reviews on his website. You do get, sometimes happens that you do get people, competitors who will put bad reviews on your Google My Business page. It's a bit of an occupational hazard, but obviously what you need to do is just get as many reviews as you can. Every time, try and get people to leave reviews who've had a good experience with your business. And then it doesn't really matter about the odd bad review left by a competitor. Doesn't happen too often. I've never had it happen, but it does sometimes happen. Also, as I said before, if your business is run from home, you don't have to show your actual address if you don't want to. You do have an option to actually hide the address. So that's a few tips on Google My Business. And any questions?
Yeah. Am I on that? You're my web person.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
You were, well, you were, when I took over, you were on there, but you weren't officially on there.
Yeah.
Google had created like a page for you, because that's the point. Sometimes Google can create a Google My Business page for you by the fact you've got a website. or you don't have any control over it. So I don't know if you remember, I sent you a postcard. It was last year, I think.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
With a
so the-
verification code on it.
Yeah, to verify it was ours.
Yeah.
Otherwise, someone could come along and claim it for them. So
Yeah.
it's always worth getting it claimed.
Yeah.
If a competitor gets hold of it,
Yeah.
then they'll put all their details on it.
Yeah.
So,
Also, how do you go about removing bad reviews? I know I haven't got any on my page, but I come across it all the time within my business. Loads of other valeters will get bad reviews put on by competitors in their local area. And it is an absolute nightmare. A lot of them are found to get it removed. If you do get a bad comment on there, Google or Facebook don't seem to want to take things off. They're very slow to contact or hard to contact about getting it. I know several high-end detailers that somebody has put, a keyboard warrior has just taken it under themselves to leave a bad review, and they've never dealt with that company. And even when you've commented, I don't know who you are, you've never been a customer of mine, please remove your review. They still don't, but they just take pride in adding bad reviews to people, good businesses. And I know, sometimes they'll go to their friends, look, can everybody just write a review and we'll get this moved off the screen? But it is still there unless you remove it. And let's face it, if you're looking for a company, I always look at the bad reviews on a company just to see, like you would TripAdvisor on a hotel. You'd go, well, look, it's got 60 good reviews, but there's 2 bad reviews, and you'll look at those bad reviews to see, and you can sometimes work it out that, well, it's somebody's just had a bad curry there, or the carpets weren't perfect in that hotel room, but it's nothing that affects the place. But most people will look at bad reviews because that's the thing with the least amount on. So that's the thing that draws them to it, to have a look and go, is it worth going there? Who's complained about it? Not all when you've got something with 5-star good reviews, everybody looks at the bad reviews to see whether it's worth going there.
Yeah. The only thing, apart from trying to remove it, which sometimes works, is you can reply to it.
Yeah.
And then you have a right to reply, and sometimes that works. You can say, this person never came to my business.
This is why I always read the bad reviews, because if anybody's good, they'll put a return statement on there about it, and you can say, whether it's them been a keyboard warrior or something like that doing it.
Yeah, and then that can sometimes that's why it's important to reply to reviews.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
Because it does show that you are taking things seriously. Replying to good reviews, obviously, when you reply, the person who left the review gets a notification.
Yeah.
That gives them the feel good factor. Like, this person actually cares about my review. It's good for a customer experience. If it's a bad review, it helps you to get your side of the argument. This person never used me. You made a mistake, or we did everything you wanted, but this is you have a right to reply. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Google aren't always great at removing reviews. No. They're in a difficult position in some ways because they have to be impartial.
Yeah,
that's why I say that. That's why I say it doesn't replace having a website, because you have control over a website.
Yeah.
Full control, but with obviously Google My Business, they're in control to a certain extent. So it's a bit of give and take. They give you a bigger platform, but also they also have more control.
Yeah, this is the problem with that, and you can get keyboard warriors out there that could put a bad review on, and you can't do anything about it, on Facebook or whatever, and the trouble is everybody looks at those things, and to whether it's you're a good company or a bad. I'm lucky I've got 5-star review on everything, but you'd be devastated if somebody left a bad comment that wasn't anything to do with a service that you did. I know a friend of mine that's had it on his, and it's devastating when you pride yourself in in the business that you do, and then somebody can just come along, type something out of the blue, and try and crash your business. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's good to be aware of these things as well, because then you can do something about it. At least you can do damage limitation. I mean, I've known people who've said the guy I worked with last year, he didn't know that review was there, and it was you know, basically saying that he was some sort of pervert, basically. You know, which wasn't too good for his business.
No.
So we managed to remove that.
That's good.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Mike. That was very informative.
Yeah.
I put down there a top tip from Mike that I picked up was reply to all reviews. Shows you care and being professional.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
That's in a nutshell.
All right. So we shall introduce our 1 minute. And if you keep an eye on the chat, your name, if I'm up on it, your name will appear after the person who's actually speaking. So you should be able to see what's going on. So to start the round